Good morning. I know some of you are probably thinking, is that really her? But I promise you it is. Today, I'm doing something a little bit different, if you couldn't tell by the hat and the sunglasses. It's kind of a brisk morning here in Nebraska, and I'm sitting on my front porch listening to the birds sing. And although I have no idea what the day holds in store for me, just like you, sometimes when we look back on things don't necessarily go the way that we want them to. And it wasn't that we expected anything different, things just kind of turned out that way. But that's what life is. Life is full of surprises, and things that we never expected happen. And this morning I found myself in such a situation where the morning didn't go like I wanted it to, like I even thought it would. And before I knew it, I was on a road that was very familiar, but a road that I didn't want to be on. And life sometimes does that to us. It takes us down roads that we never saw, and things happen that we never wanted to happen. And no matter how much we want things to go back to the way they were, they just don't. And we find ourselves wondering what to do next. And this morning, in all honesty, sometimes our head gets the better of us. And our first reaction is to think. And we lose faith, and we forget to trust, and we are hesitant to believe in the things that we know are true. Instead, our head jumps to conclusions. Our mind decides to wander and question everything that we know, everything that we've been through. Who hasn't done that? When we start to wonder if someone just stopped paying attention to us because they haven't responded to a text, is that the beginning? Or is that just someone being busy? And sometimes our heads and our hearts go back and forth because we're unsure of what to do next. And we question whether or not our head is right, or do we allow our head, or do we allow our hearts to be where things live? And life sometimes will throw us curveballs that we never saw coming, and the best we can do is keep fouling them off. We keep fighting through them, and although it doesn't mean that anything is over or undecided, sometimes we need those little wake-up calls where we need to check and decide if our hearts are going to win this one. And I will tell you that for the longest time, my heart didn't win. I let the head win because it had to make sense and it was easy. But I missed out on a lot of things by letting my head win. And even though I wish today would have been different, and I wish that some things had never happened, I also have to believe in those moments when we are tested, those moments when we are completely vulnerable and raw, when we are exposed for who we really are. And in those single solitary moments, we know if we just listen, We listen to our hearts and we let that guide us. Because when it's all said and done, that's what matters. That's what matters. And so when you have those moments when you aren't sure and your head starts talking, silence that if you can. Pretend not to listen. And keep making sure that you are listening to your heart and following it. Because there's always going to be faith, trust, and something to believe in there. It doesn't exist in your mind. So when you go out today, understand that life's going to throw you some things that you never saw coming. But understand their purpose too. Understand why it had to happen. And keep fouling them off. Keep fighting through. And don't give up. Okay? So have a great Tuesday and understand that life is meant to be lived. And some days we stumble. But when we do, it just means we get back up. Have a great Tuesday.